If you can tell by the caption, today I'm going to be talking about stress and how you can get out of the stress habit, which when I'm talking to my clients, we kind of discuss how stress really is a habit that we perpetuate and we don't really even notice it. It becomes more of a subconscious type thing. So I wanted to go over 5 easy steps that you can actually put into practice starting today. And if you're joining me live, please say hi below. Give me a like or a wow if you are enjoying the content. If you are new and you're not super familiar with me, my name is Mel. I am a personal trainer and a behavior change specialist and a weight loss maintenance specialist also. But my real passion is helping females deal with stress, being overwhelmed, with self-sabotage, all of the root causes of actual weight gain and the inability to keep it off. So I want to kind of get right into it and jump into these steps. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling stressed, I want you to write down these steps and start them, try them today. So I came up with these steps myself because I kind of deconstructed my own stress issues. I actually suffered from anxiety for a very long time. I suffered with post-traumatic stress disorder. I was on medication, and I also went to therapy. I did a lot of things. Nothing really helped until I became aware of the pattern and the habit that I got into. So I call these the ABCDs of stress habit. So the ABCDs. So actually there's 2 A's. So we're gonna go over the ABCDs of stopping the stress habit. And again, I think this is completely life-changing if you're someone who suffers from stress or anxiety. Now, obviously, there's a couple different mechanisms when it comes to stress, and this isn't gonna help alleviate anything, but I do find day to day, this is a great way to get control of that habit. So we're gonna go over the first A, which is awareness, the second A, which is acknowledgement, B is being confident, C is choosing to be happy, and D is do what you can. So we're gonna go over this, and if at any point you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, you can always reach out to me afterwards and I can help you go through it step by step. I find that it really does help to go through this step by step with someone, so when I'm walking it through with a client, it helps it make much more sense. So I would love to do that with any of you. Hey, Brandon, thanks for joining me. So I'm actually gonna try to see if I can watch oops. We're gonna turn the volume down, and then if anyone jumps in, I can see your comments, hopefully a little bit easier. So number 1, this is actually super important, and it seems really like duh. I don't know how else to say it, but I feel like awareness. So bringing awareness to when you are starting to feel stressed, when you're starting to, either you're in a situation where you're feeling stressed, if you're starting to overthink things, literally just becoming aware of it. So you're like, I'm stressed out, of course I'm aware of it. I don't find that that is the case for people. I feel like people go through life feeling stressed and they never just kind of like stop and be in the moment and bring awareness to, okay, what am I thinking about? Am I overanalyzing? Is this event like causing me physical reactions in my body? So taking the time to stop in the moment and actually bring awareness to what you are feeling in the moment. So being aware of the actual stress. Number 2 then, we're gonna go right into it in acknowledgement. So what I mean by acknowledgement is when you start to become aware of what you are thinking and what you are stressing about. Acknowledgement means really acknowledging the fact that stress is made up. And that sounds weird, but it really is. Stress is not a real thing. The things you are stressing about are not real events. They are normally things that could be happening in the future that you are making up. So if you bring up the fact that, let me give you an example. So say you get into an accident or you break something and you have this huge bill and you're already living paycheck to paycheck and you start stressing and you start thinking about like, how am I gonna pay for this? this is going to happen. I'm not going to be able to, feed my kids. I'm going to be late on rent. I just can't afford this. So you have to stop in the moment and go, okay, first of all, none of these things have happened. It doesn't mean that bad things aren't going to happen, but when you are stressing in the moment about something that isn't happening, you are making up events, you're making up situations that are not happening and most likely won't happen. Because if you really think about all the things you've ever stressed about in your life, most of them have not ever happened. So you stressed about them, you made yourself sick about them, you spent all your time worrying up until the event or up until the non-existent event that never actually happened, and you made yourself sick. Why? So coming to the acknowledgement that the things you are stressing about aren't real. They're made up by your subconscious mind, by your conscious mind. You're trying to work through all the scenarios, but realizing that none of those scenarios are real, okay? So we're gonna move on from that, but just so you understand what acknowledging the fact that stress is a future, you're worrying about future things that have not happened. It's in the future, that means it's imaginary, right? So number 3, we're gonna go into B. So we've gone through the 2 A's and now we're on to B. And this is be confident. So I love this one because I feel like this one is really just a life changer. And what do I mean by be confident? So all of these made up things that you can sit there and rack your brain through forever and ever and never stop, because especially for females, I know that we can come up with the worst case scenario for everything, and then the 20 different outcomes and the decisions we could make and what those become. But being confident in realizing that you in this moment are here and you've been okay. Like, you've made it through every hard time that has ever shown itself to you. Like, you've been through really hard shit. Like, honestly, and I know, like, obviously I don't know your personal shit, but I know as a human, we've all been through really, really tough shit. And you look back at your life and you go, I can't believe I got through that, right? So what in your life would make you think that you won't be able to get through whatever else is about to come your way? And we're not gonna stop here, because we're gonna take it to the next level, because this is really important to find that confidence in yourself. So say something simple like you are stranded on the side of the road because your car broke down. You don't need to stress, because you know what? Or maybe your car didn't break down, but it could break down because the check engine light is on and now you're super stressed out. You've been in similar situations, if not that exact situation before, and you've handled it. Like, you were able to handle it. You're here. You have not passed away. You have not gone crazy. You might have struggled, but you are here. So I want you to find that confidence and be confident in your ability that whatever situation does arise, so whatever things you acknowledge or you have like thought of, all the worst case scenarios, be confident in your ability to handle no matter what happens, okay? So here's where it is all gonna start to come together. So once you're confident and you really do believe that, okay, any situation I've been in, I've handled it in the moment. Whether I was super stressed out about it or not, I figured out a way to get through it and come out on the other side. This is, again, I'm gonna say everything's my favorite part, but this would be my next favorite part. This is C. So in the ABCDs of stopping the stress hormone, C is choosing to be happy. It sounds really dumb, but I want you to hear me out. This is so important. So here's the deal, guys. Being stressed out and being happy is a choice. So in the moment, you're aware of the feeling. You acknowledge the fact that the things that you are predicting or worrying about are figments of your imagination. They have not happened. They're in the future, and the future is not real. Only what is present is real. And then you realize, you come to terms with, you talk to yourself through it, realizing that no matter what, if say one of those things should come to fruition, that you are confident in your ability to handle it. So with that being said, now you are going to choose to be happy rather than to stress out about it. How do you do that? Well, here's the thing, you have to rationalize this. Now, the first few times you do this, it is going to be a process and you do have to talk yourself through it. But the more you get used to this, the easier it becomes and you start to do it naturally. And you no longer have stressful situations can come into your life, but you don't have to respond with being stressed. So if you're choosing to be happy and not to be stressed, the reason why you can do this is that whether those situations happen or not, getting a phone call, whether those situations happen or not, you can either choose to be stressed out up until that situation, or you can choose to be happy up until that situation, whether that situation is true or not. The actual feeling stressed, the actual like going through every single scenario will make you feel sick and is completely and utterly unproductive. You have to come to a realization that you're overthinking, that you're intentional stressing, that you're intentional coming up with these scenarios and worrying about them and working through them is not productive. It's not going to make the outcome any better. And realizing that no matter what happens in your life, these events will always come and you can't control them all. So you have to get to a point to realize that stressful stuff is always going to happen. It's not going to end. So you can either choose to respond with stress in every single situation, which means you are going to live a more stressful life because they're never going to stop, or you can choose to go through this system and just choose to be happy and realize that it's going to keep coming. But again, you've already resolved that you are confident in your ability, that no matter what happens, that you are going to get through it just fine. You don't need to feel, you don't need to overthink, you don't need to be in that responsive mode until it does happen, if it should happen. So choosing to be happy is the next step. And then finally, the last step after that, being aware, acknowledging, being confident, and choosing to be happy is do what you can. So here is the moment where I'm not just gonna say, be happy and don't do anything and everything will work itself out. Absolutely not, especially if you're a type A personality like me. Now, if you're listening so far and you've been kind of antsy up until this point and you're like, okay, this is all really nice, but you're making me anxious just like talking through this and not taking action. Let me know in the comments below if you are a type A or a type B personality. Type A, I think you know, you're like always on doing, very stressed out. If you're type B personality, this video probably doesn't even like compute with you, and that's fine. But if you're my type A people, you're already like, okay, what do I do though? So here's the last part. This is so for you. You gotta do what you can do. And there's a couple different ways to go about this. First of all, if there's something you can do, let's say your car's check engine light came on. The only real thing you can do is call someone and schedule an appointment to get your car checked out, right? And then let it go. Because up until then, there's really nothing else you can do. So you gotta learn, what can I do and what can I let go? Something as simple as, say you have a lot of things going on, sometimes simply writing a list and then deciding what you can take action on in the moment, but then letting the rest go. Not stressing about the whole list, let it go and work on what you can in the moment. Sometime, and this is where I like to incorporate inspired action, which I've talked about in the past. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just take some time for yourself. If you're feeling very overwhelmed and you just need a little reboot, meditating, focusing on your breathing, listening to some positive motivational messages, something to kind of get your head right before you actually take action is going to be the best thing you can do in the moment. So you have to then decide, after you've gone through all the steps and you've decided to release that stress and that you are confident that you're going to be able to handle anything that comes along, there's still stuff you have to do. But again, we're trying to take away from the stress of this process. So with a calm and happy spirit, what can you do? What are the steps? What don't you have control over? And deciding the difference between those. And sometimes the to-do is an actual step, calling, doing, action. Sometimes it's writing down a list so that you can, get some of it out of your mind and decide what is going to be something that you can work on right now and let the rest go. And then sometimes it's going to be something as simple as regrounding yourself and meditating or breathing, so that you can take more inspired action, so you can decide what is your next step in this process. So, hi Tiffany, thank you. I wanted to let you guys know that if you're new here, if you thought this was like new information, if you had a aha moment, I'd love to have you press a wow in the comments. It really does help get this out if you feel like there's someone else that could benefit from this information. Again, this is my own steps that I made up, that I work with my clients, and sometimes it's really helpful to walk through this process with someone so that you can really start to feel like the relief that comes, because I've seen it and I've heard it in my clients' voices, like just going through this process with something that they're dealing with really does help them, and you can like hear the relief and the feeling of, okay, I get this and this is something that I can work on, and it gets easier every single time. So in the beginning, it's very like, write it out. If you want me to, I can always post the steps below so you can kind of go through them on your own. Otherwise, you can always personal message me and schedule a phone call with me, so we can talk about it more in depth. Otherwise, I am spending most of my time on Instagram, so if you guys want to catch more inspirational, motivational stuff, you want to learn more about the subconscious mind, how to overcome stress, lose weight, balance your hormones, anything that has to do with weight loss and health geared towards females. I also post weekly workout videos that you can use to bring into the gym with you. So if you want more information and more of me and the content that I have to bring you, you can follow me on Instagram. It's Mel Lauren Fitness. And on YouTube, Mel Lauren Fitness, no spaces. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, again, leave them below or personal message me. And I hope you have a great day. Reach out if you ever need any help. Otherwise, I will see you guys on Instagram.